In an age of conquest and iron will, one realm stood apart from all others, ruled by a man history would never forget. His armies answered to no crown but his own. Precise, relentless, and utterly without mercy. His throne room was not built for comfort. It was built for power. Every soul who entered understood the difference. Beneath the steel, a kingdom of real lives. Every decision he made carried on their shoulders. They felt him before they saw him. Lord Aldric Vane moved through the world as though it had been built around him. 40 campaigns, 40 victories. A man of cold ambition and quiet fury. But beneath the armor, one wound that had never healed. He had never lost a battle he planned himself. His commanders received certainties in a voice that left no room for doubt. The most powerful men in the realm sat across from him and found themselves afraid, not of his sword, of the stillness behind his eyes. 20,000 men stood ready to move the world. He stood among them, calm, certain, and completely without fear. Across the sea, in a fortress of cruelty and cliffside, another power had taken something from him. Something he had never intended to value, until it was gone. Lady Seraphine had been taken as a message, dragged from everything she knew, chained in the dark, a weapon aimed at the one man her captors feared. She had not broken. She had not wept. Green eyes burning behind iron bars. They had taken her freedom. They had not taken her. They offered comfort in exchange for compliance. She refused every kindness that came with a price. She would take nothing from them. In the silence of the dungeon she listened, learned every guard rotation, every creak of the door. She was not waiting to be rescued. She was preparing to survive. When the scroll arrived and he read the words, the room went perfectly still. Just the controlled closing of his fist and the decision made. He had carried her portrait through every campaign. Never spoken of it. A man of iron. With one thing left he had not yet conquered. He trained every morning as if death had been scheduled for the afternoon. Fluid. Lethal. And when the fight was done, he offered his hand with a smile that said he knew exactly what he was. His people did not simply obey him. They believed in him. They pressed forward just to be near him. Because he was real in a way that power rarely is. The plan came together before dawn. Not reckless. Not rushed. Victory is decided before the first sword is drawn. His reach extended far beyond his borders. A network of shadows, moving through enemy halls as quietly as smoke. He had been watching for months. In her cell, she pulled against the iron chains, once, hard, then stopped. Not from defeat. From calculation. She had found patience. More useful than rage. He worked through the night, sealing orders by candlelight. 100 moving pieces. The rescue had already begun. She just didn't know it yet. 6 riders slipped through the side gate before dawn. No banners. No colors. Just names, routes, and a deadline that could not be missed. Enemy ships blocked the coastal approach. He received the news without expression. Folded the report. Drew a different route. In the fortress, another man paced a colder throne room. Certain of his walls. Certain of his leverage. He had never met someone who simply doesn't accept limits. News of a marching army reached him like a blade. He hid it behind fury. But his hands shook, and everyone in that room pretended not to notice. 20,000 men crossed the mountain pass at dusk. Torches snaking like a river of fire. Silent. Deliberate. Unstoppable. The camp stretched to the horizon, 1,000 fires against the black. The largest army he had ever assembled. Every single one of them knew why. He walked among them in the dark. A word from him was worth more than a speech from anyone else. He made them feel like they had already won. Before dawn they armed in silence. Each man alone with what was coming. Men preparing to do terrible things for the right reasons. Far below the fortress walls, she heard it. The first distant thunder of drums. She closed her eyes. He had come. She had known he would. The lines met at dawn with a sound that shook the earth. Steel and thunder. A wave of crimson and black. Swallowing everything in front of it. He moved through the battle with cold, devastating certainty. Every strike placed. Every step deliberate. A man long at peace with what he was capable of. The gates gave way. The fortress that had seemed impregnable was, in the end, just stone. He ran. Not for glory. For one door in one dungeon. And the woman behind it who had refused to break. He reached the door. Looked through the bars. And there were her eyes, green, steady, burning. He smiled. He reached for the lock. The chains came off. She stepped forward, shoulders back, chin lifted. Unbroken. Exactly as he had known she would be. She was free 30 seconds before she turned on him. Fire in her eyes that no dungeon had managed to put out. He looked down at her and smiled like he meant it. The drums began. The ground trembled. Lord Aldric Vane had never started a war he didn't finish. His army would follow him to the edge of the world and do it again. He had crossed oceans, broken fortresses, and now, with storm below and lightning splitting the sky, he had her back. He turned. The ghost of a smile. A man who always knew how this would end.